South Carolina has passed a bill that criminalizes the implementation of Obama's health care reform law in a vote of 65 to 39. The state's House legislators passed the South Carolina Freedom of Health Care Protection Act. It renders the Affordable Care Act null and void. It could potentially see criminal penalties issued to those who attempt to implement it. Just 2 days ago, the president gave a White House press briefing about how challenging the implementation of his Health Care Act is. Let's take a look.
The challenge is that, setting up a market-based system, basically an online marketplace where you can go on and sign up and figure out what kind of insurance you can afford and figuring out how to get the subsidies. That's still a big, complicated piece of business. And when you're doing it nationwide, relatively fast, and you've got half of Congress who is determined to try to block implementation and not adequately funding implementation, and then you've got a number of members of or governors, Republican governors, who know that it's bad politics for them to try to implement this effectively, and some even who have decided to implement, and then their Republican-controlled state legislatures say don't implement and won't pass enabling legislation. When you have that kind of situation, that makes it harder.
So Jeffrey, are we seeing exactly what the president's talking about now happening in South Carolina, where Governor Haley's been leading the charge against this legislation, or is what's going on in South Carolina sort of a ruse, political games?
Well, I mean, as far as this nullification law goes, this has happened in a number of state legislatures. In reality, this is really just a prank or a stunt. Unless you have a very, very conservative view of the way the Constitution works, states just can't nullify federal laws. And state law enforcement can't go around, arresting federal bureaucrats for carrying those laws out. But it certainly does communicate the level of antipathy that many legislators, and it's almost always Republicans, at the state level have to this law in general and to specific aspects of it. Governor Haley, actually, from the story that was reported today, hasn't decided whether to even sign that nullification law. Maybe she'll stay out of it. But what she has done and what's happened in a lot of states, more than half in one way or another, is they are either declining to help carry out the law or in many cases refusing to expand the Medicaid program, which is a big, big chunk of how that law is supposed to be providing health care coverage to poor people. So most of the South and some states scattered around the country, you're seeing that kind of uncooperative approach toward carrying out this federal law, largely because they just don't like it.